What I experienced after death was so extraordinary that it challenged every preconceived idea about the afterlife. Once I arrived in that place, I realized that even paradise could be overwhelming. What I saw was a dimension that only vaguely resembled the magnificent realm people often speak of. Having experienced it firsthand, I can say with certainty that most of what is told about the higher planes of existence is simply false.
These words belong to Arthur Jensen, a geologist who, by a twist of fate, found himself in the other world, specifically in the dimensions often referred to as paradise. A serious scientist, Jensen had always mocked those who believed in the existence of the soul or the possibility of life after death. He dismissed religious and spiritual ideas as mere fantasies. However, everything changed when Jensen was involved in a car accident that led to a complete cardiac arrest. During that time, he had a near-death experience, traveling to the other world and returning with revelations that were nothing short of astonishing. Let's continue with his words.
When the doctors confirmed my death, I felt my soul separate from my body. As an atheist, I had never expected such an experience. A shiver of fear ran through me, fearing that if I completely detached, it would be the absolute end. But I had no control over what was happening. My consciousness floated out of my head. I felt the bond with my flesh break, and I began to ascend. At first, I saw my body from above, then the hospital, and I kept rising higher and higher until the earth disappeared from sight. I perceived a shift in my awareness as if I were tuning in to a new frequency. I found myself in an extraordinary place, a meadow with vivid colors, dominated by two towering snow-capped mountains. I could see every detail with a clarity impossible in earthly life. As I gazed in awe at the landscape, I noticed a group of people walking together. When they saw me, some approached and greeted me warmly. They seemed young, full of energy and grace. One of them explained to me that I was in another world and that its inhabitants had extraordinary abilities. They were immune to fatigue, could read thoughts, and move instantly wherever they wished. However, they revealed a surprising truth. Paradise was not a place of eternal rest and pleasures, as many believe. On the contrary, it was a realm of spiritual growth where souls refined their qualities and achieved their full potential. I felt a familiar sensation, as if I already knew this place. Then I had an epiphany. This was my true home. My earthly life had been just a brief visit to a place that did not truly belong to me. Here, everything was perfectly balanced, unchanging, and sustained by a fundamental principle: forgiveness. This equilibrium prevented any form of destruction and maintained the purity of that realm. Driven by curiosity, I asked the inhabitants of that world who had created all of this. To my surprise, no one had ever seen the Creator, not because it did not exist, but because its essence was so vast that it could not be directly perceived. However, everyone clearly felt its presence, a force of love and harmony that permeated everything. I called it the super vibration, a divine force that guided the universe and held the cosmos together. I also learned that not all souls reached this paradise after death. Each one's destiny depended on their inner vibrations. Souls with high vibrations based on altruism and spiritual growth ascended to luminous dimensions. Those with low vibrations, however, remained trapped in dark realms. In reality, those dark places were not a form of punishment, but a state of being where souls, still tied to their unfulfilled earthly desires, lived in perpetual torment. Some felt an oppressive cold, while others burned in the fire of eternal dissatisfaction. Despite everything, no soul was condemned forever. Higher beings descended into those realms to help those who were ready to repent and embark on a journey toward the light. The order of the universe was governed by laws of balance and growth, not by arbitrary condemnation. As I absorbed these revelations, one of the inhabitants told me that I had to return to Earth. The news struck me like lightning. I did not want to leave. I begged to stay, but I was told that I still had a mission to fulfill. A period of great instability was coming to Earth, and many people would need spiritual guidance. Only when my purpose was completed would I be able to return permanently. A tingling sensation ran through me, and in an instant, I found myself back in the physical world. After this experience, I could no longer deny the reality of a spiritual dimension. I had lived through something so authentic and profound that even the skeptic within me had to surrender to the evidence. I understood that life on Earth is an opportunity to grow and improve, and that deep down, we already know that something greater exists. Even the most convinced atheists in times of difficulty find themselves calling out for a higher help. The truth is that we all sense the existence of this force. Some call it God, others the cosmos, and some by other names, because it is an integral part of the universe and of our very essence.
What do you think of Arthur Jensen's experience? What is your belief?
Because it is in the comments, in the shared wisdom and heartfelt contributions of an extraordinary community, that the true beating heart of this sacred space of freedom, discovery, and growth lies. Here, souls meet beyond the limits of time and space, weaving together a tapestry of enlightenment, love, and collective awakening. So, my dear friend, thank you for this exchange, this sacred dance of thoughts, reflections, and energy. Your presence here is not by chance. It is part of a greater design, a calling to seek, to question, and to expand your consciousness. If this message has touched something deep within you, then let it be a sign that you are ready to embark on an even greater journey, one that will unveil the infinite nature of your being. I invite you to continue this path with the next video, which you can see on the screen. You are the universe, we are the universe. And now, you are not just a visitor, you are one of us. You are part of this luminous circle, this sacred community of seekers, dreamers, and awakened souls. You have always belonged here, and now you have simply remembered it. Welcome home.